Well, the first one we started would be the one on 88 Armenian Street, which is now it's been replaced by the hotels. We started off for myself is I started off in 2007. Yeah, when we set up my own space. Then subsequently, I think 6 years later, I just thought I want to have another space which is completely my own, because back then in 88 Armenian Street we are still sharing the space between Fuan, Jonathan and me. So I just wanted to have something out of my own idea that I can do everything I like with this building. So I started Shop Howard. Yeah. And then because the owners of 88 Armenian Street, they have taken back the building, so we have to find somewhere else to move. That's why we are very lucky to found this location, this building, and then we move in together again, the three of us. Then in later stage, Jonathan actually moved out, so we got Tom Power on board to join us as a artist. What do you call this? It's like a shared space. Yeah. We don't. It was just an accident. When we first started, it was just me, Fuan, Fuan, Jonathan, and the other carpenters, interior designers from Hong Kong in 88 Armenian Street. Then Jonathan offered me a wall space to hang my artwork. So we just... another reason why we chose to be together was because I think the rental here are very expensive. So we need to find a couple more guys to come in to help with the rental. Yeah. And I think it works better because we're so lucky to find this location where we can split the space up into 3 portions. Yeah, and we are very happy here. Like I say, because I wanted to do something, I want to have a bit more freedom to do whatever I like with the buildings, from entrance to the facade or the paintings, or even paint a mural on the wall, something like that.
Which so you did at the site.
That comes in years later. Yeah, and also when I first started, I merely sell prints, photographic prints, and then in the later stage, I thought maybe I should turn some of the images that I have into products. So this is why we have Shop Howard, because I wanted to be more like a shop where you can find all sorts of merchandise that's made in Penang or if not Malaysia. Because I wasn't trained as an artist, so I have this kind of freedom. I don't have to be like an artist. I don't know what artists should be like, but so I can choose whatever I want to do. But because for me is survival is very important because where I'm coming from, because I wasn't come from a well-off family. So when I decided to leave my computer job, and jump into photography industry and then retail shops, what I'm thinking is I want to make something I like, something that myself would buy, and also something that's more sustainable. So profit is always been one of the concerns, but I think some artists they would very much focusing on creating something that they like, and without thinking so much about the commercial part of or marketing of the artwork, or how to make it more popular. I think it's very subjective question because it's really up to the artist himself. So for me, I always focusing on the commercial lines, which is my photographic prints, and the money I generated from the sales of those items, it supports me for my experimental side. I can create something that nobody would buy. But luckily somebody actually buys, the collage series. I think, it's really up to the artist. I think it's not difficult if you are interested in this kind of items. If you want to sell something, you must at least thought about what you want to buy. So in a way you could come up with a product that you yourself would desire, would want to buy. I think I talked about that in earlier talks, like the young collectors. I think it's very important that you try and like something, then you will come up, you'll be able to create something that's closer to something that you fancy. Yeah, I mean, also apart from that, I also travel a lot and to see different shops, what other people are doing. I think this is very important to know what other people are doing out there. And also I read a lot of magazines. Nowadays people tend to go to Pinterest. Pinterest has a lot of ideas available. Yeah, so I pick up things from all over the place, different things. I don't know whether my love for movies does contribute. I think this definitely helped me in terms of composition in my photography. The reason being, to me, I really thought about when I buy something, an artwork from an exhibition, I only thought about whether I like it or not. I very seldom I choose an artwork because I want to resell it. Very seldom. I'm not saying never happened, but sometimes so most of the time I choose the artwork because I like them. So it will always come under my own collections. But what I do is very funny. In a way, I normally leave them in my shop because I have so much space. So if people kind of ask me if you want to resell them, if they agree with the price, I normally will be very happy to sell them. Yeah, on certain artwork only. But if for those artwork that I really like, I normally kept them from at my home. Yeah.
So that means all the things that are here and at your other shop, they're all for sale.
Yes, how I do it is if for those items that I really don't want to sell, I'll put a very high price.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
But then how do you, if let's just say someone wants to buy it, then how do you part with it?
I'll just sell it because I think this person like it a lot and like it enough to buy. So I think this is also I put the price there. I agree with this kind of price to sell. So I shouldn't. I should just sell it. Mary was more straightforward because I actually buy something from Mary. She didn't actually know what I was going to do with Mary. You did what I'm going to do with the stuff that I bought from crochet parts. Then I was eventually I turned them into tote bags with that as a pocket. I really like the tote bag with a pocket, so you could see them from some of the products here. And the second one would be an Argentinian artist, and he was just traveling around Asia, so he wanted to sell me some of his prints. But then I thought it would be quite boring to sell something that you already have. What he's going to do is he was going to download the image and then send them off for printing, then bring the artwork to me for me to sell. But I thought maybe we could come up with different approach. Why not I give some bags and you paint the bag for me? So this is why if any of you have followed my Instagram, you'll see the bags.
This is very recent, right? Like
yeah, it's very recent. We haven't set the price yet, and the packaging haven't completed. Yeah. Usually for retail shop to set the price for the product would be I would say 30% of the cost, or 30% of the markup, and also 30% allowance. No, the rest of the percentage will be allowance that sometimes you might have to give discount. Yeah, so for this kind of collaboration projects, I would targeting at maybe at least I would contribute maybe 40%, maximum 40% of the cost. Then the rest of them would be the artist's efforts. The cost will be inclusive of maybe the money that I pay to artists. Yeah.
So you do pay the artists when you work on collaborations?
Yes.
Like that?
Yes.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why? Is there a principle that you have, or a reason why?
No, it mainly depending on how much I wanted the project, and also because we're not a big organization, so I'm just trying to do this for fun. So if you want to join me for fun, let's work out something. Let's play together. Yeah, I think there's. I mean, I'm not like I told Stephanie earlier. I wasn't looking for profit, but it has to be sustainable. It has to be able to generate profits for me to throw at the next project, next collaboration. Yeah. It's definitely become more commercialized. If you look at Armenian Street, if you come here a bit earlier, you'll find this street is full of souvenir shops, but it never was like this. When we were first set up our shops, it was just us, just one shop alone. Mutiara Gallery as well. And in terms of cafe, we only have Otherwise and later MLA Cafe. That's all. Yeah. But in a way, people see the Georgetown as pull in a lot of tourists. So there's money to be made here. So I was told that a lot of these souvenir stalls, they are the locals. So this is why they would just sell whatever things that the supplier supply them. Yeah, this is why they but I think it is becoming more difficult to run business. Although I shouldn't say we were affected by the stalls, but I'm not sure. I think at some point it does dilute the market a little bit. When you see 10 stalls and 1 until 8, they are crappy products. So until the 9 ones, you probably would have just skipped it. So this is how I see it. Sometimes it happens like this because it does dilute the market a little bit. Yeah, but we're still doing okay because I think location still works for us because the tourists always come here, and then even 10 out of thousands people come to our shop. We still benefit from it. Yeah. So this is why location is very important for any shop. Changes. I'll tell you what I observed from my photograph. Actually, I look back some of my old photographs. There weren't that many trishaw-mans around this area. There weren't that many stalls that you already know it around here. It was quite nice, quite peaceful. There was a time that I really loved Georgetown, and I took a lot of photographs back then. To be honest, nowadays I only take pictures with my mobile phone, and when I go out, it's mostly when I go and visit my friends' cafes and for lunch. Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's a little bit sad because I find that my love for Georgetown is diminishing. But luckily, I found a lot of joy by exploring other towns outside of Penang. Yeah, Malacca is my new favorite.